How is my thinking different now than when I first got sober? What are the things that I thought like, or what was my thought process before I got sober, and how did that stop me from getting sober? Today, what we're going to be doing is talking about the thought process difference between being an alcoholic, what that's like, and being sober and what that's like. We're also going to talk about the differences in time it takes to change your thinking and things that you might not even notice happen when you're drinking, and how your thought life kind of creeps up on you and you don't realize certain things until it's too late. This is a very important topic if you're trying to get and stay sober, because this is something that kept me drinking for a long time and I didn't really realize it. So today we're going to go through the thought process if you're thinking like an alcoholic, how to know if you are, and what to do about it so that you can stop drinking. Thanks for joining us. Here is Terry. How you doing,
Hey,
Terry?
good morning, everyone. Thanks for waiting for us. And alcoholics think a certain way. At least I did when I was an alcoholic. I have much different thought processes now. And I was looking around to see some of other people's perspectives on how alcoholics think, and I came across this thing, and it's accurate for some people, maybe not so much for others, and maybe parts of it are accurate. But let me just go over this real quickly. And this says that alcoholics think, act, believe, and feel based on distorted perceptions of themselves and the world around them. Their thought patterns often exist at extremes. There's no room for moderation, compromise, or gray areas in their worldview. So it goes on to talk about denial and distortion. And, a lot of this pertains to me, and some not so much. But one thing that is a fact is alcohol does interfere with the brain's communication pathways. It affects your mood, it affects your behavior, and obviously your cognitive function. You drink too much, you're falling down, things like that, right? And another part that was very true for me is denial is the hallmark of alcoholic thinking. And this was the case with me for quite a long time, but not the whole time when I was drinking. What the mind tends to do when our brain is hijacked by alcohol is it finds ways to like spin and twist or distort or blame things that are happening in our lives so that we can continue to drink or justify our drinking. And it takes away our rational thinking. It gets stripped away. It makes challenging to learn from our mistakes, getting in trouble with alcohol, things like that, or recognize these patterns of behavior that are causing us to continue to drink or continue to drink in excess. And this part I don't know that I agree so much with. It says alcoholics live in a world of all or nothing, where absolutes completely prevail. And that was maybe a little bit of the case with me, but not so much. Not. I don't feel it was. I don't know. Maybe some of you can relate to this, and maybe that is or was the case of you. But one thing that was true for me is this talks about how alcoholics become adept at lying. I was a professional liar. I did everything in my power to make sure nobody knew I was drinking. And really, that's what the lying all was based from. And that's where it all went, is just, I don't want people to realize that I am drinking way too much. Um, it does talk, yeah, I don't think I'm even going to go into that part. It says that we use words like possibly, maybe, would, could, and should. We try to basically create these escapes for things that we might have made a commitment to, like meeting somebody to go on a hike or a bike ride, or meeting them to go over some business stuff. And we might say, yeah, man, I should be able to meet you, and then we come up with a reason at the last second. So that I did do that a few times, but that wasn't all the time. But and we have good intentions with what we're doing when we're drinking. I did. I feel I did. I didn't. I don't feel I was an evil person or anything, but alcohol did rule many of my behaviors and what I was doing, and that's where a lot of the problems happened with me. And it was a difficult thing to get out of, And obviously, the first thing I had to do was get alcohol out of my life so that I could start to change my behavior. This isn't something, changing your behavior isn't something that happens overnight, but again, we will talk a lot about what you can do to change some of these behaviors. And I don't know if any of you relate to this. Let us know in the comments. We're reading them, and we'll touch on them as we see. But before we do that, what do you think about this, Marcus, as far as how your thought processes were going when you were still drinking?
Yeah, so for me, I know that the all or nothing thinking was something that I have and still deal with, where, sometimes you'll have a rough time or a rough day or whatever it is, and all of a sudden your thoughts go to the worst. You go to panic thinking, end of the world type thinking and stuff like that. And I notice that that is something that helps me stay sober, is realizing, okay, that's a thought pattern. It's not really something to harp about. It's just something that's there that I can work on, and it's a big deal. You're thinking, and your thought process is big. And when I was drinking, there was a lot of thought processes that I didn't realize I had. I didn't know they were there. I didn't know I had victim thinking. I didn't know. I thought, oh, hey, everything's against me. I thought that, oh, well, that's just the way I think. And I believed it. That's the big problem, is the fact that I believed what I was thinking, right? Instead of realizing, okay, this is more or less just, chemical impulses in the brain that have been wired by years and years of my life. And once we realize this, we start to realize, okay, so I can now choose how I want to think. I can now be on top of the thoughts. When I was drinking, I thought I was a prisoner of my mind. I literally thought, I'm in prison. It is my mind. I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know what to do, and nothing seems to work. And I was like, why does my mind want to kick my butt? Why do I not do the things I know I should do? Why do I do the things that I don't want to do? Why do I keep drinking? What is the problem? And I realized that the problem, first and foremost, was not that there was something wrong with me. It's that I'm an alcoholic. And realizing, okay, I have these maladaptive thoughts that may have put a little dent in the way I lived life. Before it was like, okay, did they really serve me? Well, I made a successful business. I was a decent family person. I tried to raise my kids right. I tried to be a good spouse. We had issues because we came from, crazy families, which is always going to happen. And so I lived in a way where I was okay. I drank a little. I did my work. I had some, negative thoughts, but I worked through them. Fast forward to when I started drinking heavy, these thoughts became me. And I was like, oh my God, how do I get out? But I didn't see a way out because I didn't see the way I got in. And so I was trapped in there like, okay, this is how life is. This is what it is. And now I am fighting these thoughts as if they're reality. And drinking makes the life in your head seem like the life that is reality. And it's not, right? I think it was Korzybski said, the map is not the territory. If you have a map that's wrong and you're looking at it and yelling at the map, that's not what the world looks like. I mean, when we're kids, we think you drive to Nevada, there's a big line that says Nevada. There's not a line. There's a sign sometimes. Some streets don't even have a sign. And we think that these things are the way they are, but they're not. There is no Nevada map, and the thoughts I had in my mind were not reality. It was a map of what reality was, the way I perceived it. And so when I realized my mind was warped by alcohol, this is why I think this way, everything started to change, because then I realized, okay, I'm chemical. I'm not some great person. I just am here, and this is the way it is. It's not like, when we're in our mind, we tend to think that we can solve all these problems. Well, newsflash, old Marcus, you couldn't even solve not drinking something. Like the base of the base of the base. Like, okay, don't pick up alcohol. It's Pretty simple, but I couldn't solve it. And I couldn't solve it because I was trapped in what I thought was a prison of my mind, when in reality, it was completely made up. And when I was like, oh, well, my thoughts are different when I don't sleep. My thoughts are different when I don't eat. My thoughts are different when I have too much coffee, when I get exercise, when I have this. But back then, I didn't realize that. I thought my thoughts happened to me, and I need to do something about them. This thought, Marcus, bad. This thought, Marcus, good. This thought, I'm not on the trajectory of life I want to go on. And I was like, wait a minute. Now I'm looking at it literally day by day. And I remember years ago, I used to go to church, and the worst thing you can do is what the pastor told us as a congregation for people who have OCD. And he wasn't targeting OCD people, but he didn't think about how this would roll over. And he was talking about a Bible verse that said there's a war in your mind, and there's the devil of bad thoughts, and God is good thoughts. And you give that to an OCD guy, and you're just like, you might as well just take him to the mental place now and get some help, because it's not good. And when you think there's a war in your mind for thoughts, you think, oh, well, I thought that's bad. I thought that's good. I thought this, what's wrong with me? Well, nothing's wrong with you. It's chemical impulses firing in the brain, because that's how the brain works for survival. That's how it works. Like if you were to take a person from the caveman era, and you put him in virtual reality with a bear, dude's gonna freak out, because he doesn't know virtuality is not reality. He's gonna get completely scared and be like, what's going on? Now, we might get scared too, because virtual reality is kind of freaky. But this caveman's not gonna know to take the headset off. He's probably gonna run through the sheetrock and hurt himself, because he doesn't know. When you're drinking, you don't know to take the goggles off. You're wearing virtual reality goggles. They're telling you that the reality you see is real, but it's virtual. It's virtually created by your mind and your upbringing. And all these things have made this the way it is, and now you're adding chemicals which completely alters the way you think, but you think it's real. And when we step back and we say, well, what is real? What do I have to deal with? Well, are there any immediate threats? Well, for me, there was. So I went to a mental hospital to get help for that threat, because that was a threat that was real. The alcohol threat, that's real. Like Terry could sit there all day and say, well, I don't have a threat of alcohol, but, he had to go to the hospital because he had the seizure from the alcohol. That was a real threat. But there were things in life that were not real. I thought everything was against me, and everything was this and that. And I thought I was weak because I was an alcoholic. Well, no. Like, would you call the caveman weak? The caveman could probably whip all of our butts. Dude's like, he chases woolly mammoths. I sit behind a computer. There's no competition there. So is he weak because he can't determine that the virtual reality woolly mammoth isn't the real one, or the bear, or whatever it is? No. It's a response. And so we look at it and we're like, okay, now I have this response. And Dirtman saying a bunch of stuff about he had hallucinations, he had all kinds of stuff going on, and insomnia. And what we look at is those are a product of drinking.
Yep.
And instead of looking at that as reality, I have insomnia, I have this. No, this is something that's temporarily going to happen. And if I get rid of alcohol, it's probably going to go away over time. Obviously see a doctor, obviously get help. But again, these are things where I thought, oh, my thought life is in stone. This is the way it is. And the things that I thought was going to help me were not. What was going to help me is stop drinking. Hopefully that made sense. I know I went in a lot of different directions there, but that was really what it was for me, was the reality versus non-reality.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's what it was for me too, and that's what alcohol does. It hijacks us, and it makes us think differently. And congratulations, Nick, day 1, man, you can do this. Just don't drink. And Dirtman, day 9. That's incredible. And yeah, the insomnia, it's going to get better. It took me, like a month or 2 before sleep started to normalize. Mm-hmm. And what I did do in that early stage of sobriety was I took naps. And when I needed to, when I was tired, I try to listen to my body. The body's going through a lot of changes. You're healing, and keep it up, man. You got it. You said earlier that you're something had clicked in your mind. Now you need to really get into some purposeful thinking, and so that brings us to what do we do? You know, we had this alcoholic thinking. You get sober. From most people I've worked with and myself, I see that just because you stop drinking, that doesn't mean those thoughts have gone away. They're still there, and that was definitely the case with me. Is I still had that alcoholic thinking, and I had to make some changes. It took me talking to some other sober alcoholics so that I could start to steer in the right direction and start to change that thinking. And there's certain things that you can do, and the first one that we've talked about quite a bit is acceptance. And now acceptance, you've probably all heard this a million times. You have to accept everything that's going on. Well, you don't have to accept it as far as, yeah, that's cool. You don't have to accept what's going on in politics. You can vote. There's certain things you can do, but you do have to accept the first thing you have to accept is that alcohol is the problem. That's definitely an important thing. I had to realize it's alcohol is the issue here, and I need to not drink no matter what. No matter what happens, alcohol is not going to help the situation. It's going to make me feel better for a few minutes, and that's about it. And then things are just going to get worse. They're going to get worse because I'm going to want more, or I'm going to drink, and I'm just pushing whatever problem there is down the road. And that's the type of thing. So acceptance that the fact that you can't drink anymore, that you don't want to drink. For me, it was I didn't want to drink anymore. I had finally had enough. Um, the other thing is accepting those things in life. I see a lot of times where someone is trying to get sober, or maybe they're not even sober yet, and there's all these issues. Everybody's against them, whether it's family or friends, or even, the cable company is against me. All they're trying to do is rake in money. And yeah, that's true. But are they really actually against you? No, they want to keep you. Yes, talking to the phone company or whatever, it's a pain, sure. But that person on the other end of the line is not against you. They actually want to help you and get you through whatever your situation is, because they don't want to sit there and argue. Nobody likes to argue. At least I don't think so. There's certain people that do. But anyways, I digress. But acceptance is important. Accepting what's going on in life, realizing that everybody is not against us. Maybe there's some people with some personal vendettas against us. Maybe we caused that. But for the most part, the world is not against us. So we just have to accept that, things will go wrong. I've sober almost 10 years. Many things have gone wrong in those 10 years. And I accepted. What can I do to fix this situation? This is what I have to do. I don't want to go and do this to alleviate the situation, but I have to. So I'm just going to do it and work through it. That's what's helped me a lot. Another one is a lot of times when I was drinking, I thought I had all the answers. I know what's going on. I know what to do. I'm going to cut down. I'm only going to have 2 shots before lunch. Yeah, right. Or stuff like that, just thinking that I had the answers, or this is how I'm going to quit. And I've got this time, things like that. And that's where humility comes in. I'm not saying being being a pushover and stuff like that, but having humility just as far as I don't have all the answers. Actually, you guys have a lot of answers for me. In your comments, I read things and I get stuff out of what you're telling me. And it's important. We can all help each other. Whether a person isn't even sober, they have 1 day of sobriety, they have 40 years of sobriety. I can learn from anyone. And that's helped me a lot. Understanding it keeps me teachable. It teaches me how to move forward in life and how to get through many of those situations. I know there's people that are watching right now that have gone through some stuff that I haven't gone through yet, that probably know how to get through it. And that's really helpful. Another thing that's really helpful for me at least is being grateful, that gratitude. And I know I've talked about it a lot. It seems like a hokey thing, but for me, just understanding that there's a lot of people in this world that do not have as easy of a life as I do, or as wonderful of a life as I do. I'm very fortunate. I'm very grateful for what I have. And some days when I'm having a bad day, I'm just grateful that I'm not in that alcoholic cycle right now, and that I do have the power to not take that drink. Because when I was drinking, I did not have that power. I felt that I had to take that drink. And it was a difficult thing to work through on a hourly, minutely basis. One other thing that I find that's really difficult, and I hear people say, especially in today's world, because there's all this turmoil. Actually, I don't know that today's world is crazier than past than the past. It's just that we see it all because it's all online, and we have a lot more. We're able to see a lot more, but it's tolerance of others. There's a lot of people out there that don't think the same way as me. In fact, I live in an area with people that have very different political opinions or other opinions on other things in life than I do. But but when I sit there and talk to them, they're good people. They just think a little differently. Yeah, I might think they're misguided. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I still get along with people that don't think the same way as me, or the most common one that I think every alcoholic has talked about is that guy that cut me off on the road. Well, I don't know what's going on in their life. Maybe they just had a huge fight with their spouse. Maybe they're trying to get to the hospital. Whatever it is, but I just back off. I don't need to get mad at them. What's it going to do for me? Getting mad at them, it's going to live in my head. That's what's going to happen. Is it's going to keep me angry. Those are some of the things that I have to try to do. Our program talks a lot about changing that perspective, and that's crucial for me. If you saw, well, I'm sure you saw the thumbnail for our video today, and it says this must change, and that's your perspective towards life. Yes, the first thing you need to do is to stop drinking, but on top of that, to stay stopped, you do need to change your perspective on life. One other thing I have to do is I don't have to, but one thing that helps me a lot is I have things that I look forward to. I bicycle a lot, and that's one thing I do many days of the week. I walk my dog. I spend time with my wife. I spend time with other friends that I've made that aren't alcoholics or that are sober alcoholics. And I spend time with people, and I get out there. I stay busy. Those are some of the things that help. Do you want to go over our program here, Marcus?
Sure. If you guys want to... Oh, now I got an echo. Now I'm hearing an echo.
Oh, I don't.
Weird. All right, dude. Yeah, I don't know where it went. Maybe it's this ear. Maybe putting it over here changes it. I don't know. Do you guys hear an echo? Type echo if you hear an echo. Yeah, that's weird. I think it might be on your end or something. Okay, so as far as our sobriety program, we have the Talk Sober page here. You can click the big yellow button and sign up. It's $27 a month, which is very low. And you can cancel whenever you want, and it gives you all kinds of MP3s, MP4s, and all kinds of different things to help you get and stay sober, which is cool. We're not doctors. Obviously, you need to go to a doctor if you are an alcoholic of any type, because that can really mess with your stuff there, which is something to watch out for. But we have that there. We have a private sobriety call with me and Terry. If you want to just shoot the breeze about alcoholism or tell us your story, you can click that button there for the private sobriety call. You got a link to our live show so that you never miss it. Should I go to rehab, and all kinds of other stuff, including a Facebook group and things like that. But if you want to support what we're doing here on the channel and you like what we're doing, it's helping you out, I highly urge you to use the big yellow button, sign up for $27 a month. You'll get all kinds of cool stuff, and that helps us keep the show on the road, as it were. As you guys found out from today, there's all kinds of tech stuff that goes wrong, and we got to fix all that. And instead of asking you to help us out, we ask that you join the course and get some help for yourself, which in turn will help us out as well. So thanks for that. And any other thoughts on that there, Terry?
Well, you can join our Facebook group too. So
Yep.
sign up on that. And yeah, if it's hard to tell if you're thinking like an alcoholic when alcohol has hijacked your mind, and maybe you don't even think it has hijacked your mind. But if you keep drinking and you're continuing to have negative consequences, that's definitely something you need to look at. And hey, if you're not an alcoholic, then you can stop drinking, no problem. If you are an alcoholic, you need to stop drinking. So see a doctor. That's definitely necessary, but that's how you can tell. That's another way to tell is stop drinking. Are you thinking about it when you haven't drank for a week or whatever? Maybe that's something you need to look at. We don't need alcohol in our lives. I don't. In fact, life is much better without alcohol in my life, and I do not. I don't crave it at all, or I don't romance it or anything like that. It's just something other people do and they enjoy, and that's fine. It's not for me. But thanks for watching, everyone. We really appreciate you joining us, and congratulations on all of your sobriety, and congratulations if you're here and you didn't get sober and you're just trying. Keep on trying.
All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Head over to talksober.com, and we'll see you next week.